I'm Mark Dresner. Welcome to the Research Insider, delivering the insight scoop on the world of market research and consumer insights from experts and leaders in the field. The Research Insider is brought to you by the Market Research Event 2012, taking place November 12th through the 14th in Boca Raton, Florida. Joining us today is John Gibs. He is the Senior Vice President of Research at NBC Universal. John, welcome to the Research Insider.
Thanks for having me here. I appreciate it.
Can you tell us, John, real briefly about your current role and responsibilities for context?
Sure. So I sit over digital research for Ednum, which is a division within NBC Universal. And so the brands that we look over range from cable brands like Bravo and Oxygen to digital brands like Daily Candy, iVillage, and Fandango.
Terrific. Now, as most of our listeners are probably aware, the media research landscape is in the throes of some pretty dramatic change. What are the key issues that media research departments like yours are facing today, and how do you feel they're being addressed?
Well, I mean, I think that the main one is I think that we've all come to the realization that living by ratings isn't enough, and when I say ratings, I mean either television ratings or digital, ratings like ComScore or those types of things. I think that we understand that one of our jobs as part of these organizations is becoming more about business analytics and business intelligence as much as it is sort of traditional research. And so, I think what our goal is, and I think what most divisions and most research groups are moving towards is helping sort of drive business intelligence back into the organization rather than just being sort of reporting out last night's numbers.
Excellent. This may be a little bit redundant, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What kinds of specific changes, if you could, have been made to meet at the department level today's media research needs?
Well, I think that the main thing that we're seeing as a driving force is that I come from a digital background. I've spent my career in digital research, and although I'd spent a lot of my life at Nielsen was within digital research, so I kind of have an interesting perspective there. But I think the main thing that we're seeing is that from within digital research, we have a lot of intelligence about what consumers do on a page-by-page, minute-by-minute, second-by-second, stream-by-stream basis. And that's something that spirit, right, the spirit of understanding what the consumer is doing, how they're doing it, is something that digital has, and it's something that's akin to to work that we've seen in retail, work that we've seen in CPG, work that we've seen in other product categories. And I feel that is actually being driven back more frequently into the traditional media research organization. The idea that we're using tool sets that are much more about consumer behavior and consumer analytics and that second-by-second usage, much more than we had previously.
So we're looking at sort of more of looking at the consumer versus looking at the medium or the platform, if you will.
Yeah, that's right. And I think this dovetails into what people like to call sort of the big data question, right? Where we move from a place where we're sort of looking at sort of what research vendors provide us, and we're spending more time building our own data platforms where we can actually using our own internal data as well as external data sources that we can bring in, where we can sort of build these sort of larger data platforms that can either provide, as I said before, business intelligence or provide monetization opportunities for the organization overall.
So we're looking at a much, much bigger picture than media research has dealt with historically, when you talk about big data, a much more holistic perspective and a host of new and increasingly emerging data streams. If you had to rate the industry's performance or progress in adapting to sort of this new frontier, what kind of grade would you give the industry?
I think at this point I would give the industry maybe a C plus. And I'll give you an example. One of the things that we're looking at doing is bring together a number of our internal data sources that have been sourced from the same vendor. I'm not going to name the vendor because it's not appropriate here. But and a number of those data sources are sources that will allow us, when we bring these things together, to understand a lot more about our consumers, right? We'll be able to understand everything from where they go to what ads they see to what they buy on our properties. And this is obviously an incredibly valuable thing for us to be able to do as an organization. Now, the vendor who we're working with simply doesn't know how to do it. Now, this is obviously a huge problem for us because we end up having to go to IBM or Microsoft to be able to do it, which is wonderful. I love working with my IBM and Microsoft; they're great, but they're not who you think of as the traditional research vendor, right? So we end up having to go more to the software and platform providers to give us what we need, rather than the organizations that have traditionally been our research partners.
Interesting, and that leads me to one last question, if I could, for you, and that is, how receptive have research agencies and services providers been to undertaking the kinds of changes that you need and are, proposing in this instance?
Well, I think they're conceptually very perceptive. I think on a high level, if you were to talk to any research partner and you were to say, this movement towards big data, this movement towards high-end analytics is incredibly important to us. If you talk to them, they would say, of course, this is absolutely something that we want to do. The problem is that right now, most of them don't have the technical capabilities, and it's not part of their product roadmap. And what that leads us with is the problem I had said earlier, which is they're spiritually akin to move with us, but they're really not technically able to. They don't have the talent in-house. They don't have the platforms they built out. They're just not able to do it right now. They don't have the expertise. And so, my hope is that what these organizations will start to see is that, yes, there may be in the short term, this may not be sort of the ratings juggernaut or the market research juggernaut or the product buying juggernaut that they've had historically, but that this is in fact the future of where media research is going, that we really need them to be able to partner with us to be able to make these type of movements and to be able to really sort of look into the future of what we want market research to be and be able to sort of, obviously we never want them to kill the golden goose of what their core product has been. But we do want them to be able to sort of look to the side a little bit and understand that there is a new future in place that they can partner with us on.
John, you've given us a fantastic perspective, and thank you very much for your candor. And I think looking to the future, you've given us a lot to think about. So I thank you very much for sharing with us today and for joining us on the program.
Well, thanks a bunch. I appreciate it.
And for those of you listening, if you'd like to hear more from John Gibbs, he will be delivering a presentation at the 2012 Market Research event titled Moviegoing in the Digital Age, How Changes in Media Consumption Have Changed the Moviegoing Decision-Making Process. For more information about the Market Research event or to register, please visit us at themarketresearchevent.com. Until next time, I'm Mark Dresner, and you've just heard the Insight Scoop.